what a gift this bill would be to any Wall Street speculator trying to make a quick buck off our public lands. Under this bill, there would be no way to invalidate those speculative or potentially predatory claims. Any big money bad actor could blanket our public lands in thousands of untouchable mining claims and force any other public lands user to buy them out to build an energy transmission line or a trail or a renewable energy project. This bill is not just a giveaway to the mining industry, it is a wholesale giveaway of our public lands. Thank you, Chairman. In this committee, we often hear calls for an increase in domestic mining to fuel the clean energy transition. But as we move to the clean energy future, we must be sure to prevent the injustices of the past. Unfortunately, under our 150-year-old mining law, we are bound to do just that. And that is correct. Today's mining industry operates under a federal law signed into effect more than 150 years ago. The mining law gives the mining industry rights over public lands that any other industry would dream of. All other public land users and industries, oil and gas, ranchers, conservation, renewable energy, all go through a public planning process to make sure land use is fairly balanced. All other land users have to pay fair market value for the use of public land and oil, gas, and coal. They all pay a royalty back to the public, back to the taxpayers for the extraction of these public resources. The mining industry, however, sits above all of that. Today, anyone can go out on open public lands, drive 4 stakes in the ground, and claim that land as their own as long as they can prove there are minerals there to mine. The 1872 mining law gives that miner the exclusive right to that land. The government cannot say no, even if it's the perfect site for renewable energy or if it's the only habitat for an endangered species. Tribes can't say no, no matter how sacred the landscape. This imbalance of power has resulted in over a century of ongoing toxic mines scarring our landscape and poisoning our communities. There's only one frail guardrail on which someone can stake a mining claim and claim all the rights to that public land. The 1872 mining law says a claim is only valid if it contains valuable minerals. That is, it's only valid if there's actually something there to mine. One of the bills on the agenda today, the Mining Regulatory Clarity Act, would strip that only guardrail away. Under this bill, any mining claim would automatically be valid if the claimant pays a laughably small fee of $10 per acre per year, no matter the validity of the mining claim. You are hearing that correctly. Any American, or notably, any American subsidiary of a foreign company, could have the exclusive rights to our public lands for about $10 per acre per year. Anyone who pays those nominal fees has the right to, and I quote, occupy, use, and conduct operations on their mining claims. No conditions, no exceptions. This law would apply to all of our public lands, including national parks, wilderness areas, and BLM land. The mining industry claims this is just a minor tweak to existing laws to correct legal uncertainty. But the unintended consequences of this change would upend our public lands management. It would give away our public lands not even to the highest bidder, but to the fastest claimer. We don't have to imagine the chaos that this could create. We just have to look at the history of the mining law and all the ways bad actors have tried to exploit and misuse mining claims. Today, over 1,100 mining claims remain active in our national parks with their claim fees paid, but without having been tested yet for a valuable mineral. Under this bill, all 1,100 claims in our national parks would become automatically valid. Anyone could conduct any, quote, mining-related operations, end quote, on any of these 1,100 claims. Someone could permanently bury part of Zion National Park in toxic mining waste. Someone else could use a claim on part of a trail into the Grand Canyon to deny access to their quote-unquote prospecting site unless hikers paid an access fee. And what a gift this bill would be to any Wall Street speculator trying to make a quick buck off our public lands. There have been some discussions about different interpretations of what is proposed today, but we have the Deputy Secretary right here, so we can just ask how the interpretation would be administratively. Dr. Feldges, under this legislation, if I filed a mining claim just before a national park was established, could I potentially prevent that national park from being designated on my claim?
Thank you for the question. I don't think you could prevent the designation of a national park around your claim, but you would have the right to use and occupy that claim that you have staked.
Thank you, thank you. And to reiterate, there are about 1,100 active mining claims within national parks presently. And under this legislation, they would potentially all be deemed valid. Dr. Feldges, if I built a house on my claim and told the federal government that it was part of my mining operation, panned for gold every once in a while, would that be allowed if this law were to be passed?
It's very difficult to tell exactly what would be allowed under this law because it is a little bit vague, and these rights under the law had not been tested in court yet. But it would certainly be very time-consuming and expensive for the federal government to try and address a situation like that.
Thank you, thank you. And Dr. Feldges, if I decided I wanted to prevent a new solar farm, a wind project, or a transmission line, and I filed a mining claim in the path of a project before the renewable energy project secured their rights of way, might I be able to stop or delay that project?
That is certainly a concern under the legislation, yes. Also, any other authorized use, whether it's grazing, recreation, and so on, would be at risk.
Thank you. And if I wanted to file a handful of these claims, known otherwise as quote-unquote nuisance claims, might I be able to potentially extract large sums of money from the federal government in exchange for giving up my claim?
Yes, you would have probably a cause for a takings claim against the federal government.
Thank you. And if the government suspected I was trying to use my mining claims to extract money from other land users, or even prove that I was using the land for something other than mining, would the federal government be able to effectively invalidate my mining claim under this proposal?
Not quickly or cheaply. It would take quite some time.
Interesting. You see, this bill includes extremely broad definitions of what it means to, quote, use and occupy land for, quote, mining-related activities. Almost anything would be allowed, or the argument could be made that it is allowable, including dumping toxic mining waste, building housing on a mining claim in a national park, or even just claiming land to lock it up to make sure no one else can use it. Anyone, and I do mean anyone, you, me, a family member, a foreign company through an American subsidiary, could gain permanent rights to occupy claimed public land for just about $10 per acre per year. Sounds like a deal. I recognize that we will need some quantity of new minerals to support the transition to clean energy. Nobody denies that. But I believe with significant reforms and a whole of supply chain approach that maximizes efficiency and, importantly, recycling, we can achieve our clean energy future in a way that minimizes impact, protects tribal sovereignty, and supports labor and, importantly, equity. Unfortunately, the bills on the agenda today do not support that path, but I look forward to us figuring out a way where we can accommodate all of these needs. And with that, I yield back to the chair.